now, happy Thursday afternoon. Welcome to an extremely abbreviated 36-minute edition of 580 Sports Talk. I am Brendan Dworzinski. That is Spencer Dupuis. We're here with you just until the top of the 6 o'clock hour today, recapping a Royals win. They finally got one. We were hoping they would take 2 of 3, maybe even sweep the A's. Instead, they got 1. They had to salvage it. They were leading for much of the day. Freddie Fermin, 2 home runs. And then Seth Lugo, after 6 really, really good innings, gave it up. And then Bobby Witt Jr. had to come to the rescue. But who cares how they got there? All that matters is the Royals did indeed get there, and they are victorious today. We will recap the game coming up here in just a matter of moments. We'll also get to a busy day of 580 Sports Talk headlines, plenty to get through in this abbreviated edition of the show. We want to hear your reactions to this Royals win, both on the Top City Metal Supply text line, 785-272-9429. And as well on our 580 Sports Talk YouTube channel. Head to youtube.com, search 580 Sports Talk, subscribe while you are there. And then you can also, of course, leave a comment for us and let us know your thoughts on anything we're talking about on the show today. Let's jump right into game coverage here. And the YouTube comments already popping off. Jason on YouTube, says, wish we could have gotten 2 out of 3, but 1 is better than none. Still haven't been swept this year. That's pretty impressive for the boys in blue. And let's be honest, it's especially impressive considering how gross this offense has been. Tomorrow, when we have a little bit more time to expand on this, Spencer's got some numbers on just regarding how bad this Royals offense has been, especially situationally over the last week plus at this point. But even if you just go back over the previous 4 games, so the entire 3-game series with the A's and the final game against the Dodgers as well, I mean, it is ugly how bad the Royals have been. 2 for their last 25 with runners in scoring position. They, thanks to that Bobby Witt Jr. solo home run to win the game today, they improved over the last 4 games above an average of 2 runs per contest, which I don't think it is lost on anyone that number is not good enough. It's in fact quite bad. If you're not hitting, you're not scoring, you are putting a whole lot of pressure on your pitching staff. And we knew there was going to be a little bit of regression coming for this pitching staff. We knew that was going to happen. Not like Lugo was bad today. He gave you, 6 2/3 and only gave up 2 runs, takes a no decision in the game. Yeah, 6 2/3, 6 hits, 2 earned, did walk 3, but struck out 8, did make the mistake to Zach Geloff. Lugo was more than good enough to earn the win today. Yesterday, Cole Reagans is fine. It wasn't the best start we've ever seen from Cole Reagans, but again, it was good enough to give you a chance. Reagans lasts 6 innings, 4 hits. He walked 4, but struck out 7, only allowed 2 runs. If your starter can give you a quality start, the quality start, 3 runs or fewer in 6 innings or more against the A's, you should be able to win quite handily. Unfortunately, yesterday, the Royals went 1 for 6 with runners in scoring position. And outside of 2 hits by Bobby Witt Jr., they did effectively nothing the entire game. Bobby had the only RBI yesterday. And when and obviously had the game-winning hit today, and that's awesome and that's great, if no one else is hitting and no one else is performing, that puts so much pressure on the middle of your order, guys. And I don't necessarily mean spots 4 through 6. I just mean, the heart of the order, the guys you rely on the most, your best offensive players in whatever sequential order they come in your batting order any given day. It puts so much pressure on them when you're getting nothing from the bottom of your lineup. Kyle Isbell today, 0 for 3. Frazier and Garcia both pinch hit. They both got out in those appearances. Garrett Hampson in an 0 for 2 before he was replaced. Actually, the heart that 5 through 7 spots did pretty well today because Fermin had the 2 home runs. MJ had a pair of hits. He's up to 180. At average, it's ticking up. Getting closer to the Mendoza line. And then Dairon Blanco got you an infield hit today as well. And you only expect so much out of those guys. And you got more than you expected out of Fermin. It should not take, though, 3 solo home runs to beat the A's. Like that should not be. The bar should be higher than that for your performance against a team that is as bad as Oakland is.
Yeah.
And you've got to find a way to get that offense back. You had 7 in that one game against the Dodgers. That was great. We've seen this team, though. It's a team that for better than a month to open up the year had the best run differential in all of baseball. They were phenomenal offensively for the better part of 2 whole months, but it has slowed down now. That is going to happen. That's baseball. We get to those stages sometimes, but you've got to see some guys start to pick it up. Hopefully, if Hunter Renfroe can get back in the near future, that's going to add a little bit because he was swinging a hot bat right before he went on the injured list. Hopefully, it didn't stunt his momentum too much. You don't need a lot. You need pop and like a 250 average. That's what we're looking for. You walk every once in a while. And we went through the numbers right when Renfroe got hurt. Yeah. He had been hitting really well before he banged up his left toe. So hopefully that helps you a little bit. But even beyond Bobby, again, there's so much pressure that goes on him in this series against the A's. The Oakland A's, the now 28-49 A's with a losing record at home. Salvador Perez went 3 for 16. Salvi has just been in a nasty rut for a while now. Vinny went 3 for 14. If your 3 and 4 hitters are going to combine 6 for 30 in a series against a crappy team, I mean, you don't have a whole lot of hope if no one else is going to produce. You can only get so much. You only get so many chances to have Bobby Witt come to the plate. He's averaging 4 at-bats per game in the last 4 games. 4 for 16. That's good. Hit the home run today. Had the only RBI yesterday, but you've got to get some other help. That's the biggest issue to me. The bullpen, yes, it is a concern. I have my worries about it too. They did by the skin of their teeth today. Angel Zerpa, James MacArthur, everybody who got in there, Chris Stratton for a little bit. Barely by the skin of their teeth, they held on to get the win today. I understand the concerns there. We've already known about that, though. I am more worried about this offense and I am worrying that they are going to be able to produce enough as we get into a really important stretch of schedule. A winnable stretch, but a really important one.
Yeah, I'm getting a little bit worried about Salvi.
Yeah.
His batting average has dipped to 291. I think 3 weeks ago was 315.
He has only, and I've got to go look this up, until he hit that home run the other day, he had gone in unthinkably long time between times when he had gone yard. And when you're talking about Salvador Perez, all the good that comes with Salvi, he hits home runs. Like that's what he does. He has exactly 1 home run for the month. It came in the 4-3 loss to the Dodgers 6 days ago. Hit a home run then, had not hit one since May 29th, and he's only now hit 4 home runs since April 25th. He hit a home run on April 25th. Since then, he's got 4. He's still got 11 for the season because he was so hot early on, but you've got to get more out of him. Hell, if you want to just go from that day until now, he is, over that course of time, slugging 400. I mean, that's solid. 349 on base. That's actually really good for Perez numbers. He's been able to produce without hitting home runs, but if that other production dips and you're still not getting the consistency with the long ball, that is a major worry. And this month in particular has been a struggle for him. And a struggle more than anything because the thing he has always been the best at, which is his power, has just not shown up as much as it needs to.
Yeah, it hasn't. And, unfortunately, they're probably not in the situation where they can't. The possibility of him, of where he is with his batting and everything, you can't really take him out of the lineup. It's hard to give him an off day, fully off, and not have him DH, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, you either have him DH, play first, or catch. But it's kind of hard when you're a guy that can do all that to not be in the lineup at all and give him a day off to maybe hit the cage and see what he can do.
A note here from Christopher on YouTube. Hitting over 300 as a team with runners in scoring position was always unsustainable. They're regressing back. Hopefully they find a nice middle spot to land.
Yeah,
absolutely. Again, just like the pitching, we knew that some of that clutch hitting was going to regress. It was so far above league average expectation. They've got stats for all of this stuff that you knew it was going to come crashing back down at some point. Historically speaking, if that stuff doesn't crash down in the regular season, it does in the postseason. At some point, you are going to run into stuff like that. However, you've got to find that middle ground. You have to do something to be able to find that middle ground. And hopefully the Royals are able to get into that spot. We've spent a lot of time over the last couple of weeks talking about this schedule and the fact that it's going to lighten up. You've got that big series with Cleveland, and then you've just got a boatload of games for which you are playing teams that are right around 500, that are just on the cusp of trying to figure out between now and when the Royals play them, are we going to be buyers or are we going to be sellers come July 30th? You've got a ton of those teams on the schedule. Just got to find a way to balance it out. The talent is there. The players are there. I think the manager is there. You can, like, if you're going to critique anything today for Quattrero, did you leave Lugo in for too long? Well, Lugo's been so reliable all year that it's hard for me to say, you left him in too long. You should have taken him out. No, man, he's been your workhorse all year.
But again, that goes back to the learning curve for him. Yeah. Learning, like it didn't matter a year ago what he did. It didn't matter for the team's sake. Like they were not even close to doing anything good last year, really. It was just like, can this guy get through 6? Is that good for him? Can he get, only give up this amount of home runs today? Now it's like the team's winning. Mm-hmm. We need to keep winning. Is it good? Is it better for the team to put him out there, or is it better for the bullpen to come out? And honestly, I don't know at this point. I don't like who's better in that spot. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Especially after last night, you take Reagan's out, right?
Yep.
You put Schreiber in, and what does he do? Can't even finish the inning.
Yeah, nothing good. Nothing good when Schreiber went in. More and more clear. I think they need 2 arms. I have been hoping they could get by with just 1. I think they need 2. And maybe that's Trenton's guy, Walter Pennington, who's down at AAA, and he's the dude for it. But you have to go out and acquire.
Didn't they just bring up a guy today too because they put Altavilla on
I think you added a syllable. I think it's just Altavilla or Altavilla. Yeah. Added 1 extra syllable. Yeah, he's on the IL. Steven Cruz is who they brought up from Omaha. But yeah, you need more dudes in that bullpen.
Yeah.
I would love another bat too. I'd love someone who could be more reliable in left field than MJ Melendez or even Hunter Renfroe in right. But you've got to get an arm for that bullpen.
Exactly, yeah.
Today, man, I know Lugo put him in a tough spot because he kind of fell apart late in the 7th. Ooh, buddy, that was a narrow victory held on to by the bullpen today. We will talk plenty more Royals baseball coming up on the show tomorrow. We will break down this series. We'll get you ready for a big weekend for the Royals as well. That's coming up on tomorrow's show. Right now, though, we have to get to a commercial break. We got some bills to pay. When we come back, lots of 580 Sports Talk headlines to get to in a short amount of time. We'll get to them coming up next on 580 Sports Talk, live from the Kansas Drive to Zero studio. Kansas Drive to Zero studio. Brendan and Spencer here with you for a brief edition of 580 Sports Talk. Let's get to our 580 Sports Talk headlines for today. There is a lot to get to. We will start with news on a new extension, or at least an amended contract for Kansas State men's basketball coach Jerome Tang. This is all the reporting of Kellis Robinette of the Wichita Eagle. I have not seen K-State make this official as of yet, but we trust Kellis. He's been on the show many times. This is the information from Kellis today. And in his writing, his piece begins, when K-State basketball coach Jerome Tang turned down an opportunity to leave for Arkansas in the spring, it went without saying the Wildcats were eager to reward him with a contract extension, and a few short months later, they have done exactly that. President Richard Linton, Director of Athletics Gene Taylor, and Tang have each signed an amendment to Tang's employment agreement that could be worth more than $28 million before the contract expires in 2031. The new deal will boost Tang's salary by $500,000 per year. That means in the 24-25 season, he will earn $3.5 million. That amount will increase annually by $100,000 until it maxes out at a $4.1 million base salary in the final year of the deal in 2031. Tang will also receive a retention bonus after the completion of each contract year on April 15th, starting in 2025. So this coming April 15th, and then for the next 5 years after that, he will get an extra $200,000 as long as he's still employed at K-State. Tang can cash that bonus regardless of how many games the Wildcats win during a given season. So all he has to do is remain employed, and he's going to get an extra $200K. That's a pretty nice bonus to get. He can also get postseason bonuses, including an extra $10,000 to make it to the NIT, all the way up to $600,000 for reaching the national championship game. I think it goes without saying that, especially with a roster like the one K-State has now, just making the NIT is no longer enough for K-State fans. I think that goes without saying. Tang's salary ranks 6th in the Big 12 now with this new deal. He is behind Bill Self, obviously, Scott Drew, Kelvin Sampson at Houston, Jamie Dixon at TCU, and newcomer Tommy Lloyd at Arizona. Kellis also adds that in the buyout section of the new contract, the buyout number has actually decreased. It's down to $5 million. That number will remain in place until next April, and then it will decrease by $1 million annually until it goes all the way down to $1 million to buy him out in the 29 and 2030 season. No buyout beyond that for the final year of the contract. The buyout also drops significantly if Gene Taylor is no longer at K-State. That's a very similar clause to what Chris Klieman has, head coach of K-State football. That's a hefty raise for Jerome Tang. It is, I think, deserved. I like Tang. I think he's a good coach. I think he and his staff have done a sensational job in the portal this year. They only added one high school recruit, but he's a good one in David Castillo. I think they are primed for a really good season. This contract, though, tells me if you're going to be the 6th highest paid coach in the best conference in America, well, you better have your team perform like it. Right, exactly. Yeah. So this is obvious that it was going to get done, but here are the numbers and a hefty raise for Jerome Tang.
Yeah, we'll stay in the NCAA as the NCAA has presented a plan to the D1 conference commissioners that would expand the men's and women's basketball tournaments by 4 or 8 teams alongside an option to leave the field at 68 teams, a source told ESPN today. The proposals were outlined to the commissioner this week by Senior Vice President of Basketball Dan Gavitt and NCAA Vice President for Women's Basketball Lynn Holzman. Under the proposal, the expansion of the 68 team field would be both 4 and 8 models. The NCAA would keep its 64 team bracket, but add play-in games involving the numbers 10 through 12 seeds. If the men's basketball tournament expands, it's expected the women's tourney would as well. I don't like it.
No, this sucks. It's fine.
Yeah.
Stop messing with good things. And I know I know 2 of the arguments right off the rip of people who will defend this. Number one is, well, you're still going to watch. That's not the point. I watch plenty of crap.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean it's good. Like, yes, I'm going to watch it because I love college basketball, because I love the NCAA tournament, but that doesn't mean it's going to be better than it is right now. That's not how this works. The other thing is, well, look at other sports and look at how many teams in other sports make it to the postseason. Percentage-wise, this is just going up with the additional number of teams that have joined Division I over the last handful of years. A lot of those teams, especially in the Northeast, and some that are in the southern and southeastern part of the U.S. as well. There have been a lot of teams that have jumped into Division I since the tournament expanded to 68 teams from 64, which it never should have stopped being anyway, but that's beside the point. Here's my counterpoint to that. Most of those teams should not be in Division I. Okay? There's no need, the fact that, and I know this is part of the NCAA tournament, that you get the little guys who compete with the big guys. There are plenty of the 363 teams in Division I that should not be in Division I for financial reasons or for competition reasons or for any number of reasons. That's not a reasonable argument to me. I think that is really, that's like a backwards explanation. Like when you come up with an acronym after, you come up with the acronym first and then make words to fill it, the backronym. That's what that sounds like, that argument. Don't mess with a good thing. Stop screwing up the few good things we, the American people, have left. They're trying to take so much from us. The people in power are trying to rip away all the good stuff. You can't go to the store without going bankrupt these days. And now you're trying to mess with the last good thing we have?
Yeah.
Stop it.
One more quick Big 12 information. According to Brian Fisher, national college football writer at Fox Sports, this breaking an hour ago, Houston AD Chris Pesman is out at the university. He got the Cougars the Big 12. The alum is no longer the AD.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That tells me that Tillman Fertitta did not want him to be the AD anymore.
Exactly.
Tillman Fertitta has so much money and has so much power.
Yeah.
Exactly. I mean, they're pretty much the Fertitta Cougars, really. I mean, most schools have someone like that.
Oh, yeah.
How much money has David Booth given to KU over the years? Like most schools have a donor or a couple donors like that, but I think it's an extreme case at Houston. That's really surprising that Chris Pesman's not there. And so soon before Big 12 Media Day, too, for football.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I don't know. It's Big 12 related, so I figured
no, for sure.
We definitely should mention that.
No, it's surprising, and the timing of it is especially unique as well. Next headline for me, we'll get to a couple more quick ones here from the NFL. The New England Patriots have agreed to an extension with running back Ramondre Stevenson. 4 years, $36 million for their starting running back. $17 million of that is guaranteed. That effectively tells me this is a 2-year deal. $17 million, that'll be paid out over 2 years. Then you can either move around signing bonus money or do something in years 3 and 4. It's a pretty decent contract for Ramondre Stevenson. He gets to stay with the team. He's a good player. Not an elite running back, I don't think, but he's a good player. I know somebody who I got to go find where this tweet came from, but an NFL writer that I follow said he really likes this and thinks that now with the new offensive system New England is running, obviously they overhauled so much.
Yeah.
They actually think Stevenson might be in an even better position. And with not a ton of guaranteed money and not a ton of long-term commitment, this will probably age pretty well for New England. So that's a good deal for a nice player.
Yeah. Let's turn our attention to the NBA. A name that we've heard for a very long time be connected to the Lakers job has agreed to a 4-year contract as JJ Redick will leave ESPN as an NBA analyst to become the franchise's next head coach. Or just figurehead, really, because as we got a text a while ago, LeBron coaches this team. He makes all the decisions.
Mm-hmm.
So JJ Redick will be the figurehead head coach of the LA Lakers, which I feel like we've been hearing this for like a month.
Yeah.
And then it's like, well, they haven't even talked. And then the whole thing we saw a couple weeks ago or last week.
Well, the Danny Hurley.
Yeah, with Danny Hurley.
Yeah.
And this has been a name that's been floated there since the beginning. So I'm not shocked.
No, I'm not shocked whatsoever. LeBron wanted his guy. LeBron got his guy.
Did you see LeBron was in Philadelphia meeting with the 76ers and Josh Harris the other day?
I did not see that.
Yeah, somebody posted he was at a dinner in Philadelphia with them.
Interesting.
Very weird.
That is very weird. He was back in LA last night. He was at the Kendrick concert.
Yeah, that pop-up.
Ken and Friends. Oh man. Incredible show. LeBron was there. Russell Westbrook. DeMar DeRozan showed up. Yeah, it was
who's who of athletes.
It really was. All sorts of other celebrities, rappers. It was incredible out there. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't have taken that. Well, no, I mean, if I'm JJ Redick, I absolutely take that job because they gave him, I saw someone say they gave him running back money. He's getting $32 million on his contract. We just said Ramondre Stevenson got 36 and only 17 of that was guaranteed.
Plus, you never know because at ESPN they could just pull the plug one day and be like, "We need to cut people."
Yeah, no,
and he's gone.
True. Yeah, I didn't like him on TV, to be honest with you. I was not a fan whatsoever. I thought he was so smug, so full of himself. Granted, I'm sure people think that about me too sometimes, but so be it. The other NBA coaching news from yesterday. Did you see this about Monty Williams?
Yeah, and he's still gonna get the money.
So Monty Williams got fired. I believe, if I remember correctly, he had signed a 5-year contract with the Detroit Pistons previously for an absurd amount of money. I think it was $78 million. Yeah, 6 years, $78 million when he was hired by Detroit away from Phoenix last offseason. They fired him after 1 year. They still owe him a guaranteed $65 million. 65.
Oh, gosh.
That is absurd.
Yeah.
Crazy. That's the greatest. That's the worst coaching contract in history.
Yeah.
I am willing to say that. Whatever the Jaguars paid to, what's that idiot's name? Urban Meyer, whatever some of these other NFL teams have paid the guys to flame out immediately. There have been some bad ones.
Oh, yeah.
Nothing is worse than firing a guy 1 year into a $78 million 6-year contract and owing him $65 million. That just light your money on fire.
Yeah.
Hire me to coach. I could have gotten fired in a year. I would have taken that money. I would have taken cut that in tenths. Yeah. I would have taken a tenth of that money. It would have changed my whole life.
Exactly.
Man, that is just utterly unbelievable. One other quick one from the NBA. The Chicago Bulls and Oklahoma City Thunder completed a trade today. Alex Caruso is headed to Oklahoma City. Josh Giddey is headed to Chicago. A couple of my buddies who are diehard Bulls fans said, no, this is actually good. Counterpoint, this deal sucks. This is a very bad deal, and I hate the Bulls so much.
Before we
go ahead.
Get out, I want to say rest in peace to Willie Mays. The late, great Willie Mays. Did you hear he was invited to go to the game at is it Rickwood Park? Yeah,
he
was invited and he declined 2 days ago.
Yeah, because he wasn't physically able to. I mean, 93 years old. It's hard to travel at 93, but he left a message, gave one to Dusty Baker to read to the crowd, and what a life. Many people will tell you that might be the greatest player of all time. And I would listen to that argument.
Yeah,
I absolutely would. No, rest in peace to the great Willie Mays. We have to get to one final timeout as we wrap up our headlines. We'll finish off the short edition of 580 Sports Talk with the final word next. All right, Spencer, let's wrap it up with a real quick final word.
Yes. Aside from sports today, I want to wish everybody in West Virginia happy West Virginia Day. This day 161 years ago, they decided to stray from the Confederacy and go to the Union. So, which is weird to say this because I'm from Virginia, but lived in West Virginia for a good portion of my life now.
Sure.
So it's really weird. I'm on a weird side, but it's the places that you can see the beauty of nature in West Virginia is amazing.
Get ready for January 29th, Kansas Day. Jan 29th. Remember that.
Okay.
Final word for me. It's a quick one. Royals, you got to figure out this offense. I appreciate that they won today. Lugo was mostly pretty good. He had mostly pretty good pitching for a lot of the series, though. The offense has got to wake up. You've got to get some help for Bobby Witt Jr. We are back tomorrow. We'll talk more Royals baseball. We've got plenty of college football to get to. Some interesting notes from Justin Reed on Chris Long's podcast today. That's all coming up tomorrow with a full show from 2 until 6. For Spencer Dupuis, I'm Brendan Dworzinski. Check out the YouTube. Check out the podcast. We'll check you out tomorrow at 2 o'clock on 580 Sports Talk live from the Kansas Drive to Zero studio.